All right, I finished the walls. It's time for trims. I'm gonna trim this window out today and get the trims up on the ceiling. Can't wait to get started.
My name's Deric. This is my wife Jenya. We bought a fixer-upper. We're remodeling this house one day at a time, all while living in it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to get all the latest videos to track our progress. You'll find lots of how-to videos with step-by-step instructions to help you with your next do-it-yourself project. Welcome to the Rundown Reborn channel.
I'm going to start today trimming out my window here, and the first thing I've got to do is get a sill in. I've decided to use poplar, and this is a piece. It's a 1x6, and I've got a little extra here. It's plenty long. I went ahead and got a little bit extra I can use to cut off for another window I've got. I'm going to cut it for a length and then notch out the recess so it can set back in there. Once we get the sill established and level and locked in, the rest of it should go pretty smooth. But the sill's key. The reason I chose poplar, it's a very hard wood. Nice, smooth, paintable hardwood. And so poplar's a great choice. It's not going to dent and ding or splinter. Windowsills get some of the most wear. They just get banged around, bumped into with furniture. So you want something really hard, otherwise it's just going to fall apart on you. I've already established a center point here. This line is a perfectly vertical line I've laid out with a level pencil, and it's right in the middle of these two window openings. So I can use this as kind of a center benchmark for lengths. Now what I'm planning to do is put a sill in, sill trim underneath here, and then line the whole window with jam surround, and then put a trim piece all the way around it down the center stile. The sill needs to come out and extend beyond this side trim, which is a 3.5-inch board. Now this is a 3/4 inch width, so I think I want my sill maybe about 4 inches extension. So we'll have a little bit of thin out there just for a detail. So I'm going to first measure over here to my edge of wall, and I'm right at 33.5. Then, as I said, we want to extend out about 4 inches. So that's going to make us about 37.5 inches in length on half. So I need to double that. 37 times 2, 74 inches. Well, 37.5 times 2 would be 75 inches. So I'm going to double check that. And I should have 4 inches on that side, and it's exactly right. We're at 75 inches. So I'm going to cut my length off at 75 inches. I'm going to go 75.5 inches first. I want to trim both ends so I get clean square cuts. Go ahead and make our cut here. I'm going to cut through this kind of slow so I can make sure I get a nice clean square cut. So here's my scrap. I'll use that for another single window. We got a nice clean cut, no splinters. Now I want to flip that around, and I want to actually make my final measurement here. Cut this other end of the board so it's clean, right at 75. We'll run this through the saw. Finish work's really about taking care about measurements and cuts. The wood's a little more expensive than just rough lumber, so you do want to make sure you double check your measurements and make sure you're just nice and steady and clean with all of your prep. Accuracy makes a big difference. There we are. That's going to go right here. And it's going to set back into that window all the way to the windows themselves. Now we got to notch those things out. And you just need to take careful measurements and just try to get that nice and tight. All right, I've taken really careful measurements. I've got my 4-inch cutout here. I'm going out about 4 1/4 inches. That's going to get me tight against here and leave just a tiny bit of gap at the back. I've done that on both ends. And then I've got a similar cutout right here in the center. It's about 4 1/4 inches deep by about 3 inches wide. I've also made a mark here to corner bevel my chamfer rather, my corner of the board here. I don't really want a sharp corner there. I'd rather have a mitered or beveled corner there. I'm going to use a jigsaw to cut this out and a nice fine blade for fine wood, and just take it nice and slow. Here I'm more concerned about this one against the wall. That needs to be nice and clean. Let's do the cross cut here. The blade I'm using is a scroll blade. It's a real fine tooth. It's still coarse, but it's not as coarse as a rough saw jigsaw blade. And it's a little bit more narrow, so you can get in and curve and get in tight spots. So it seems to be working pretty well. Let's try this center cut. I'm gonna first do my 2 in cuts and then work out the corners. See here, I got my 2 in cuts right here. This is where those little scroll blades come in handy. I need to come in and curve in and try to cut across straight into this side and then let that fall out, and then I'll do the cross cut, corner it out. All right, now I'm to the line. I want to straighten it out and go right down that line. As you can see there, we've got that cut out here. Now I just need to get the rest of that cut out. Okay, we got our square cut. This is for the center stile post. Flip our board around. We gotta do this last end here. First part, I'm going to take this corner bevel off here. Pretty good. Again, the front edge is going to be visible against the wall, so I want to make a nice clean cut there. Get rid of that last piece, see how it fits. All right, moment of truth. All right, here's our board. Let's see how we got. Set that in there. Where it's going to be, let's check it for level. Perfect. Check it for square. Sometimes this is just kind of an eyeball effort. I can bring my small level in, see if we're level. Front does need to tip up just a slight amount. It's looking good right there. What I want to do is, with that push back, I'm going to lift that up until it's into position and just put a mark here on the wall so I know where it's at, where I need to shim to. Do the same here. That there. Okay, so now we've got that thing level and into position. What I'm going to do is put a couple of brads in the back corners here where they won't be visible to anchor the back side, and then we'll get the front into position with shims. I've got my brad nailer here. This is tied to an air compressor. Just got it. Thanks, Tyler, my brother. He got me this for Christmas. So what we're going to do is use this brad nailer. It shoots out 18 gauge brad nails. They're basically pins, straight pins, and they'll go straight in, concealed, no big problem. So I don't want to anchor the front, I just want to anchor the back. So I'm going to shoot one in each corner just to hold it. So I've got it pushed back, put one in there, and I'm going to go to the other end, push this back, tight. Got one in there. Now I'm going to push this back in here in the center. One there. One there. That's anchored. Alright, I've got a bundle of shims here. I'm going to pull one of these out and put a mark here. I need to lift that up, slide that in about that far. Do the same here. Check that. Yeah, just about right. And this end. About right there. I'm going to check and make sure it's still level. Perfect. Alright, now that I've got this shimmed into place and everything's cleared off, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more brads in to hold it. I want to shoot into the stud, down underneath, into the stud sill. Okay. I'm going to put a couple in the center here to hold it. Beautiful. There's one brad that didn't get all the way in, so I'm just going to tap this down. Just going to tap this down. Don't pound your wood, otherwise it'll leave a hammer mark. There. Looking really good. Now I'm going to take my knife here and score this shim and snap it off. Now we have a windowsill. Okay, to do the jam surrounds, I'm going to start with the head. I want to put that one in first and then let the jam boards kind of hold the corners up. So I'm first going to take a measurement here. I'm at 31 7/8 tight. So I'm not going to trim this end. It's going to be concealed. So I'm going to go 31 7/8 off of that end, which is right there. When you're selecting your boards, you want to make sure you get a nice flat one and straight, without any knots or anything on the edges. This one is pretty straight. It's got a little bit of bow on that end. The way to check it is to just look right down the edge of it, and you can see how twisted or bowed it is. So I'm going to use this good end here. I can still use that later, but right there's my cut. I'm going to cut it nice and slow. Alright, let's see how it fits. Put it in place. Looks good. Alright, as you see, it's a little big. I couldn't use a 1x4, it wouldn't come out far enough, so I had to get a 1x6. There's nothing in between. Bring my ladder into position, get my pencil. And I'm gonna hold that up there. I'm gonna scribe that right against the wall, square. I do want to make sure that's a straight line. So I've got my level here, and just go over that line again, really straight. Now I need to rip that piece off. I don't have a table saw at this moment in time, so I'm going to use my jigsaw. This material is pine. It's not poplar. You can use poplar, it costs more. But I went with pine for the rest of the trims. You can get MDF board, which is basically a rigid sawdust, glued sawdust board. It's pre-manufactured, super straight, doesn't warp, doesn't bend, not twisted, and it's pre-primed. It costs about 3-4 times as much. So I went with just standard pine, and I'll just prime and paint it, save myself some money. There we go. Pretty straight, pretty smooth. Plane it a little bit, get that smooth. Take off any high ridges or anything. There. That's pretty good. All right, let's see how it fits. All right, I marked this in my left end, so I'm going to put my cut edge towards the window. Try to put my straight edge to the outside. Let's see how we look. Oh, nice. It looks really good. So same as before with the sill. I'm going to put that up there. I'm going to tack the back in a couple spots to hold it. Now I want to see if it's level. This side needs to go up tight. And this side needs to shim down a bit. Right there. It looks really good. We go ahead and tack that up. That's good. Should be good in place. I've got my knife here for my shim. Score it right at the wall. Break it off. All right, that's one. Let's do the sides. Now that I've got the head in place, I need to run a board just the same way down each side here and try to get those nice and plumb and square. So I'm gonna start with a piece of board. Looks good. Let me get a measurement. Now I do want this to be a tight fit. Go with 58 1/8. Straighten this off. Let's go across the cut. See how it fits. Bottom in, top, it's pretty good. It's just a hair of gap, unless it fits a little better on this side. Oh, it's snug there. Nice and snug. I'll use it on that one and cut the next one just a hair longer. So we're at 58 1/8, I'll add a 1/16 of an inch. So that one looks. Oh, beautiful. Nice and snug. That's in. That's in. Nice and tight. Let's go ahead and scribe that. I'm going to put a mark here at the top of both of these so I remember which side's top. And get that against the window. Nice and clean. And I'm going to put a mark right down this wall. Just like that. The other side here. Now, take this out. I need to make sure I have a straight line with my straight edge here. Alright, we've cut through that. The planer here. Just kind of smooth that out. Okay, I've got my top marking here. This is my cut edge. I'll put that back towards the window. So I got my straight edge to the outside. I'll set that back in there. Nice and tight. Put a tack back in here at the top. Now at the bottom, I want that to be flush with the front of the wall here. I'm going to put one tack in here. Now, let's make sure we're plumb. Plumb is a vertical level. I'm going to set this on here, and I'm in the middle. So I'm looking okay there. Let's look here. We look really good. I think I just need to tack it on. Got my other side here. I planed down this edge. This is my cut edge. Here's my top. Set that in place. Looks good that direction. Looks really good that direction. And there we go. We've got our jambs in. So anywhere where there's a crack, just fill with a little bit of caulk. All right, I'm ready to do the trim surrounds now. What I've already done is finished both of the jambs out, and I've got my 3 vertical pieces. This center style trim, I needed a 4-inch wide piece. Well, 1x4 is actually 3.5 inches, so I had to take a 1x6 and rip down one side as straight as I could. And I planed out the edge, and it looks like it was factory cut pretty much. The other 2 boards, I'm just going to use 1x4s. I also took a 60 grit sandpaper and I ran that up and down on all these exposed edges. The reason I did that is they had this sharp saw cut really square, had a hard edge to it. I think it feels better if it's just slightly rounded, so I just took that sharpness off until it felt comfortable to the touch. It's nice and smooth now on the corners. I didn't do that on every corner, just the exposed corners. I've already pre-sanded these boards as well. Now I've got the square cuts on the back because I want those to be nice and tight to the wall. There's a couple ways you can do this as far as styling. You go nice and flush to it, you're going to get a much more modern look. This is an old house. I wanted a little bit more of a classic look, so I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch step on the trims, and it gives it a nice built-in look. So I took all 3 of these boards and I measured a 1/4 inch above the top of the head, and that's where I marked it. And I cut all 3 of them at the same time so they'd be the exact same length. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tack these up. I made pencil marks on the wood at 1/4 inch in, and I want to line those right up on those marks and get it right into the exact position I need it to be in. And then it'll be nice and straight, so I've got an equal amount of gap on both edges. I'm going to hold that in place, put a couple tacks in. There. Double check it at the bottom here. Looking good. Push that back against. Both sides. And make sure that top's nice and straight up there too. Get it, really work it into position. The board's a little wobbly. It's in. Go ahead and nail that off. That should hold it. That one's on. Step over here and do these sides. Same thing. I put a line there to get it right where it's at 1/4 inch off the inside. There. There, it's on. Nice. All right, now on this last bit, I've got a 1x6 here, and I'm going to run this across the head. And I'm just under 72 7/8. I want them to extend about an inch over. So we get some kind of look about like that on the sides. I think I'll go 1.5 inches. So that's going to add 3 inches to that length. Puts me at 76. I'm going to use this end. I'm going to first give me a clean cut on the end of the board. I'm going to go 76 inches. Use my framing square here to strike a line across the end. And we'll do a slow cut on that. It's nice and clean. I'm just going to put a mark down here on the edge, and that's where the edge of the trim is going to sit. Now I'm going to take this sandpaper and smooth out those edges again, just the front side edges, all the way around. Here I'm going to do the ends because they are exposed. And I just want to take it off to where it doesn't feel sharp. Doing this, it doesn't, if you bump it, it doesn't feel sharp, and it makes it look aged a bit. Like it's been here a while. It doesn't take much to take it off. Coarse sandpaper, so it works pretty quick. It's these kind of details that really make the difference in the end. Okay, I just want to check out the edges, make sure I don't have any. There's one that's still a little coarse, sharp. Feels pretty smooth all the way around. We'll go ahead and tack this up now. Get this up here on top. Get that on the mark. Looks all right down there. I'm going to tack the bottom up first. There's a little gap. My wall's a little uneven at the top, so I want to try to get it as tight as I can on the bottom first. there. There. All right, now for the sill trim, I'm going to run a 1x4 right across the bottom here underneath this sill plate. So I need to have a measurement from end to end right at 75. So I'm going to take this board, cut it 75. Checking on my position here. Looks good. Pull that up tight. There we have it. We're all trimmed out. Everything's smooth to the touch. Corners are nice and rounded off. I've got some gapping. I'm going to come back with some window caulk, sealant, and fill those gaps and just give me some nice clean closure there. Let that cure, and I'll be ready to prime up. All right, I went ahead and sealed up all the joints throughout the window. Got some caulk all through here, up against the window. Everywhere where I saw crack, I filled it in with caulk, and it looks really good. The joint I had up here, I went ahead and put some wood filler in there and got that nice and filled in. Once I have paint on that, it'll just disappear. So that closed up real good. Some of my other gaps I just filled in with caulk, and it's a paintable caulk, white, and we'll go ahead and once that primer's up, it'll all come together and close up and look fabulous. The next thing I'm going to do here is put up some trim. It's not necessary, I just want to do it because I want to give this a little bit extra detail. Just give it a nice classic look. I'm doing the same on the ceiling. So I've got this real thin stock here. It's primed, and it's not wood, it's a plastic wood kind of material. And I'm just going to run that from the sill up across the head and down. And I'm going to set that off the edge about a quarter inch as well and give you kind of a stair step. Just give me a nice shadow line on the trim and make it look really slick. Let's see how we're looking here. Okay. All right, our trims are up. I've got the ceiling all trimmed out. Still need to do a little caulk work, a little touch of sanding, and this room's ready for paint. I've got my primer ready to go, but this ceiling just turned out fabulous. I am so happy with it. It looks really good. Very architectural. Wasn't all that much more expensive than just doing plain old drywall across, and boy, it just looks a whole lot better. So, super excited about that. Super excited about how the windows turned out. And just a little more caulk, and I'm all ready to go. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much. Be sure to subscribe, help me grow my channel. I'll get a new video out to you real soon. Thanks.